Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. Today, we are playing with Super Serious Delver Deck. Absolute Tier 1 Delver Deck. And it is featuring Legacy staple Hidden Gibbons. So, a little over a week ago, we played against a player who had 2 Hidden Gibbons, and chat ate it up and absolutely loved it. And that inspired this donation deck list, which has been dubbed 800-pound Delver, as in the weight of an ape. Now, we're on a little bit of a flavor theme here tonight. So not only do we have Hidden Gibbons, which when an opponent casts an instant spell, if this is still an enchantment, it becomes a 4/4 ape instead. And we have Hooting Mandrills as well. And we also have the very flavorful Pongify, which it's a removal spell. And I'm really excited to see if we can do something with this. Like, our opponent shows and tells a Grizzlebrand, like, draws 7, and then, like, we turn it into an ape. Like, I will lose it if that happens. Another cool thing about this is that this can target your own creatures. So, like, you know, let's say you have a Hooting Mandrills or something, and you attack, and your opponent goes to Swords to Plowshares it. You can Pongify your own creature to get an ape out of it. Which is neat. It's a very strange sort of counterspell in that regard. Most of the rest of the stuff that's here that is traditional Rug Delver stuff, although notably this doesn't have the Uros that are... oh geez. The monkey business has started already. Thank you for the support, Hyperlink. Anyway, this list doesn't have the Uros that are traditionally present in Rug Delver right now, but most of the other stuff here is stock Rug Delver stuff. Most of the other stuff. Luckily, we have 4 tropical islands in this deck, so we can reasonably get green, 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 right? For our 7/6? Yeah. 100% agreed. People were loving the Hidden Gibbons, so hopefully we can put on a good show tonight. I do like some of the things that are in the sideboard. You know, beating the dead horse here, but Carpet of Flowers, like, it's all of my love. And Blazing Volley also is pretty hot. There's a decent amount of Death and Texas and decks of that nature running around. Elves is pretty popular as well, so having access to Blazing Volley seems pretty cool here. One way or another, I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight, and I am really looking forward to this. For those of you watching this on the YouTube and later, I really would appreciate, you know, likes and comments on this video. It really helps out with the algorithm, and I think people are really going to enjoy this one. Let's see how it turns out. Need to mulligan this hand. We don't have colored mana. This looks like a Delver hand, though. We're going to be keeping this one. Let's throw back Trop. Let's throw back Trop. And SCK, thank you very much for throwing some gift subs around. For the YouTube folks who are just like watching this live, a hype train has started, which means like there's bonus rewards based on people gifting subs and doing the sorts of things that like pops Thalia's face up on the screen. So expect a decent amount of Thalia for the next 5 minutes. Basic Swamps, you were special before. Thalia is a sword waifu and should be on screen. Obviously, hard agree. That's why she's always on screen, right here. This hand is devoid of apes, but otherwise is looking pretty good. Dr. Bill, thank you very much for the support. Hope all is well. Hey Spies, if you're supporting me, it doesn't matter when you support me, right? Don't feel pressured by the hype train. Like, obviously... Main deck! No! No! Opponent's deck is too strong. All right. I mad respect this. Blaubear, I believe. Is Aaron Relentless's tournament win? Was that post ban or was that the tail end of pre ban? I am not 100% sure. Misty Rainforest. Not gonna reveal that. It was post ban. Then yes, I do. It's not me doing the gameplay. It's a German player, I believe. Hidden Gibbons. Oh, Hidden Gibbons has got to be good, right? Am I required under law to just put Hidden Gibbons into play this turn? Ooh, I probably am. I probably am. All right, let's go for the meme play instead of like the good play of like 100% flipping the Delver. Oh, that was pre-ban. Then I'm not sure that I have. We have multiple ways of making green 4/4s, don't you worry. They call it Hidden Gibbons. However, it's telegraphed. You make a good point. Jazzy, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I want to start a conversation there. Is that actually true? Because I thought one of the like very high placing lists from a challenge recently was on 3 Revoker main deck, I believe. It's a little harder to tell right now because some of the deck lists aren't coming up on like the usual like 5.0 deck list dumps and stuff that we get from Wizards aren't being published properly right now. So it's harder to tell than normal. Stifle. I would like to reveal Stifle, which is awkward because now opponent like can fetch. Oh, Skyclave is gas for sure. This is sick. All right, we have completed our hype train quest. Oh no. Oh, but Stifle. This deck is wild. My opponent's main deck Carpet of Flowers is sick. That's presumably to help them like cast something like an Uro. Daze sure looks bad. Yep. Daddy needs a brainstorm now. Don't even think I get rid of this tropical island, right? Like, my opponent is just going to be working with 5 mana anyway. 5 versus 6 is a minimal difference most of the time. Don't even think I'm going to play my Wasteland. I think I'm going to hold it with the hopes that I can shuffle away a Wasteland and a Daze. Swap your Delvers for Curd Apes. So you're telling me we can still go deeper. I see. I'm going to always yield to that. I don't think I want to play, like, the guessing game of, like, when do I want to stifle a Carpet of Flowers trigger. I think the answer is just, like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So, Carpet of Flowers. Carpet of Flowers. Hello, Yoshi. Welcome. Yeah, Jazzy, they tapped one land for that, and that shuts off my dazes. Oh no. You're you're just a little late. This is no bueno. I am going to keep playing for a little while, but if I'm being honest, it's mostly to get a better feel for my opponent's deck. Like, whether or not my opponent has Uro is a big piece of knowledge. Eh, eh. No, 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 no. Yeah, I think I can scoop to the Shark Typhoon. Sad hooting noises. Yeah, for sure. All right, what do I like? I love Clothis. I love Sylvan Library. I love the blasts. And I might play Carpet. Like, Carpet is generically good against blue decks, but if I bring in 6 cards, like, that's a ton. Alright. Well, we'll see where we're at with the sideboarding and see if we can justify bringing in the giant ape. I still think I'm supposed to play the days-based game. Like, I think that's something I still want. Maybe since I showed my opponent Stifle, I board that out. I like most of the cards that I have access to. Why are we playing Kogla? Great question. You're not missing anything, other than the fact that its creature type is ape. That's the reason why it's in the sideboard. Don't overthink it there. Let's trim maybe one lightning bolt. And I'm not sure what to trim for the other card. Surely not a hidden Gibbons. Maybe 4 hooting mandrels is too many if I'm also like using Clothis. Let's go down one. Jedi Head, thank you very much for following. Um This is a weird one. I think I mulligan this. I think that's just a little too land heavy without a brainstorm. Oh baby, this hand's good. Get rid of the brainstorm? Get rid of brainstorm, I can't use Force of Will. Maybe I just get rid of Force of Will. Like, I just have a bunch of stuff here. I don't necessarily need this. Oh, this is memeing hard. Dear Keranos, please do not give my opponent turn 1 Carpet of Flowers. Alright. Dodge that bullet. And now we wait. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Gibbons. Ben, we're gonna find out. What if my opponent cast Force of Vigor? That'd be good. Actually, not as good as I thought, right? Because, like, the Force of Vigor would turn Hidden Gibbons into an ape, and then it wouldn't exile it anymore. Oh! My Gibbons! So this is going to be card 1. That's going to be card 2 in graveyard. I don't think I want to pay life for these cards. I think I'm just going to fetch to clear. And let's ponder. Nope. That's good enough for right now. I might think about an end of turn brainstorm on my opponent's turn just to guarantee that I can cast Hooting Mandrills. We'll see though. Don't like that it's turn 3 and I haven't gotten any damage in. Let's go ahead and use this. Since I have Sylvan Library, yikes. It's less critical for me to get, like, maximum brainstorm value. Or just full pay? Maybe I just full pay and don't play around Spell Pierce to make a future Hidden Gibbons better. Or, nah, I guess Spell Pierce is a bad example. Opponent unwilling to crack and destroy Hidden Gibbons. Don't think I've boarded in any way that can just actually factually destroy an engineered explosives. A new Hidden Gibbons. I don't mind that. I think this is a set of cards I pay the life for. No, we are not giving them 2 apes. Absolutely not. It's a weird Mystic Remora for sure. Deadfish, thank you very much for supporting my content. I hope you're enjoying as much as I am. This is very silly. I boarded out the Stifle, so I don't need to brainstorm in response to that. I have a lot of counter magic to stop the things that happen. Feel good about my position. No cast on the terminus. Nope. That does not get to happen. Oh no. Maybe I should have tapped Volcanic Island. I wanted to represent Lightning Bolt. I didn't expect to get countered twice. But now I can't play Hidden Gibbons. Oh, okay, it's just a Brainstorm. Just. Okay. Oh, Clothis is sick. Like Clothis and Hidden Gibbons this turn. We've done 15 damage to ourselves. $16 damage to ourselves. Opponent is on a version of Bant Miracles. They had Carpet of Flowers main deck, so their build might be a little bit non-traditional. Actually, I should probably just pay maximum mana here. Because, like, I am playing for Delve creatures. Because of Teferi's ability, I'm just going to send that at the dome. The apes? The apes! Lothus has indeed blessed us. Alright, Hooting Mandrills felt good. Let's get another one of those back in there. We're at 1 days on the draw. Do I want to play Veil? Do I want to play, like, Veil over Lightning Bolt? Veil over Days? Veil's probably decent. Alright, what 3 cards could I bring in if I cut my dazes? Could go like Veil, Stifle. What is the excuse for running Delver and Clothis? You have to play some good cards in your meme decks, right? Like you gotta give me a reasonable chance to steal some games. Sounds legit. The deck is still too good. Fetch me my curd apes. No apes, snap mulligan. Fair. I set a stop in my upkeep because I think I intend on brainstorming next turn to flip this Delver that turn. Best Planeswalker of all time. Oko. Easy. Next question. Oko did just huge amounts of damage to so many formats. Like, it has a low cost, high loyalty, protects itself in a weird sort of way. Like, it did so much. Coolest. No! No, you stop that. Alright, coolest Planeswalker. That one's harder. Allow me to remove this stop here. Honestly, the coolest Planeswalker is probably some Planeswalker that doesn't see much play in Legacy, right? There are some really cool Planeswalkers that just cost a little bit too much for competitive play. That are really well designed. Alright, do I want to just, like, fetch away 2 cards I don't want? Or do I want to flip Delver? I think I want to flip Delver. I think I'm going to go like that. Triple Cheap, thank you very much for the continued support as well. Yeah, okay, so isn't there like some like giant like 7 mana Garuk that just like murders planeswalkers and creatures and stuff, like carrying a big axe? Like, that's a cool design that like doesn't quite work, except maybe out of the occasional Nick Fit deck. Yeah, Apex Predator, that's what I'm thinking of. Oh no. My Hooties are harder to cast. Yeah, that one's Garuk Relentless. I like the Flip Garruk for sure. Oh, Carpet. Relic of Progenitus is also going to check my Clothis pretty well. A couple of the Nicol Bolas planeswalkers I think are pretty well designed as like being the big baddie card. I think they did that pretty well. Like you feel like you're getting 7 mana worth of power. We'll take green. I'll take red. I don't think it matters. I'll take blue. Oh, I can only get green or red. I guess I'll take green. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I can play Delta. And then that's 5, 6. It would have been a super heads up play for my opponent to crack their relic there so that I couldn't do this. I am now just like feeding my opponent mana, just like shoveling it into their maw. Oh, I also really like the original Ashiok Planeswalker. I I really enjoyed playing with that card in Modern and occasionally in Legacy. Um, that was just a nice, solid 3 mana Planeswalker for the time. Power creep has made it so like you can't really justify playing that card, but it's cool. Fair. All right. Try to do some work here. I don't hate these cards. Wish I could have 2 right now. I guess I can get 2 right now if I need to right now. I can brainstorm to grab the red elemental blast if I need it. But I really just want to be able to bolt a Snapcaster Mage. I would feel so much safer if I had tapped Tropical Island instead. I wasn't expecting the scenario where I get like both Bolt and Pyroblast simultaneously. Specifically for like Flusterstorm based reasons, I could play this Wasteland, but I think I'm just gonna hold it. Oh yeah, I went very deep into speculating on Deathrite Shaman very early on. Now, I didn't, like, quite have a, like, binder full of them or anything, but I had many binder pages of just Deathrite Shamans. Like, I was trying to convert every card that I could into Deathrite Shamans. And then it got itself banned in a few formats, and that's fine. Are we just terminusing? Yeah, I got out before the ban. I think I need to protect this Hootie. I have the Pyroblast on top of my library to protect against a lot of other things. But that doesn't stop white spells, which unfortunately is the color of a lot of my opponent's removal. I did not make as much money as I expected to make on the Deathrite Shamans, though. That's for sure. Like, that was a card that I was planning on, like, getting a billion of and then just, like, really sitting on it for a long time and just letting the eternal value tick up. And I did not get to do that. Opponent notably does not have any white producing lands in play. It is just like carpet of flowers, hanging out, having a good time. Mm. Ugh. Yeah. All right. Coast is clear for the opponent. We need a hidden Gibbons or something. I don't play that. I also don't think I removed the Snapcaster Mage. I can't let my opponent have a Planeswalker, for example. That's so much scarier. Like a Planeswalker or a like hardcast Shark Typhoon. Like that's the sort of stuff that's terrifying right now. Like I can take 7 more turns of this Snapcaster. That's fine. Yeah, I used to be really big into like trading and grinding value on the trade floor, and that's part of the reason I was actually able to build a legacy collection. And like my time trading did me a lot of good, but I do not miss it. Like I am very happy that like from a financial standpoint, I don't need to be grinding value on the trade floor anymore. Now that's hardcast Force of Will with Red Elemental Blast backup. You got it. Second one doesn't change much. You have infinite mana. Eh, I'm getting to the point where I have to start thinking about killing the Snapcaster Mage with Red Elemental Blast. I'm not happy about that. But I'm 1 or 2 hits away from just doing it. Yeah, like, since I've shifted mostly to doing online content production, you know, once or twice a year I have to order some cards to keep death and taxes up to date. But otherwise, like, I don't need to maintain a collection of all the legacy cards anymore. Like, that's just not necessary for me. And because I don't have to keep up with all those different decks anymore, I don't need to be on top of the finance game. Well, this sure doesn't do much. I'm just not gonna let that happen. I don't think I can deal with a Death Toucher reasonably. Force a will, huh? Gibbon take. Get out of here. That was pretty good. Hope you're having a good evening. I think this is the point where I just have to fight. If my opponent gets, yeah, my opponent gets 3 power into play, and I just like input on a 2-turn clock. That's just so very bad for me. Uh, yeah. So my Lothus is being checked by Relic of Progenitus. My opponent has infinite mana over there, 10 mana. That's just gonna mean like the biggest Shark Typhoon ever. Oh, back to basics. Oh god. I'm just gonna see. Oh yeah, and back to basics, and then to fairy. All right, we're gonna we're gonna call it there, assuming that the opponent can close things out in the last 5 minutes of the match. GG's. Okay, I think I have an unexciting hand, but we have 2 different ape cards, so let's keep it. Well, you just put your extra copies of Hidden Gibbons in like a deck box, right? And then you like throw it on your bookshelf or something, and you forget about it for 10 years, and then you go to move, and you're like, what's this? 37 Hidden Gibbons? Oh, these are worth $5 each now. I'm rich. Ha 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 ha. I maybe should have picked some more absurd numbers, like 37 times 5 is not the biggest number in the world. I think in most places the legacy players are pretty um accepting of proxies. Like, most of the time, if you're playing, like, Legacy or Vintage, you're just like, yeah, man, let's battle, let's play. You don't have the cards, that's fine. Resolves. Unfortunately, I think the default name here is probably Brainstorm or Force of Will, and both of those hit. Yeah. Would I like them to Cabal Therapy me, or would I like to just Lightning Bolt Veteran Explorer? I think I want them to Cabal Therapy me. Amazing Muffin and Nothing Gold, thank you very much for following. They sure didn't name Hidden Gibbons blind, which is weird, but I obviously accept it. Oh, they're not even just using the therapy. Interesting. All right. I would like drop here, I think. And I am just going to try to fire off this Brainstorm. See if I can find a Delver or something to put in play. Maybe not. I'm going to assume that Wasteland ends up being bad because my opponent can just get more lands. I'm also going to put back Volcanic Island, I think. And I'll call that a turn. 1 mana short of Hooting Mandrills this turn. Yeah, today's YouTube video was doing pretty well when I checked it earlier today. Today I put out the Root Maze. Oh, I guess I can just shuffle off of this. I put out the Root Maze, like, White Eldrazi style deck, and people seem to be enjoying that. Trop rotation. Strong. I respect it. Asios Barbosa. Thank you very much for throwing some support this way by following. Ray, you make a good point. Oh no, double Hooting Mandrills off it. That was savage. Oh. Huh. I think we're gonna get bullied by Nick Fit. Is this how we get bullied by Nick Fit? Is our opponent, like, playing fucking Natural Order over there? Like, do I need to be worried? I am totally unsure what Arbor Elf means. I'm not going to Lightning Bolt it, which may or may not be a mistake. Shape of Junk to Come. Thank you very much for subscribing. So we're insulated from something like a Natural Order right now because I do have the Force of Negation, and we're insulated against a big dumb creature because I have Pongify? We can still get pecked to death for 2 or 3 damage a turn, but I'm not really doing that badly. Alright, X equals 4 is probably Questing Beast. What else could it be? What would be, like, very bad if it resolved? Run? Run would be Savage. Do I need to force some negation? I might need to force some negation. Like, if it's Questing Beast and I give them an ape, I still have to deal with the ape, so that might be a 2-for-1 anyway, like Pongify plus Lightning Bolt. Blastoderm. Shifting Ceratops, too, is, like, one of those things that if it hit play, I would be like, oh god, why? Yeah, Spies came up with the same thing that I was going for there. Ray, I don't, but there is a 1-mana blue removal spell from one of the recent sets. Roughly, I think it just, like, taps something down forever. Don't love that. Alright. I have to make a decision here. Am I going to bounce this, or am I just going to put Brazen Borrower into play and start trying to attack them and pressure their life total? I think I'm just going to put Brazen Borrower in play. Like, I have a Lightning Bolt, they have a Sylvan Library. Weird things can happen. And I might need to steal this game back. Like, playing Brazen Borrower, starting to attack, and then ripping a Hooting Mandrills, for example, would just be an awesome way for me to get back in this quickly. Yes, thank you. Bind the Monster, I believe, is the name of that card. Julian's podcast, Everyday Eternal, talked about that a bit in one of their episodes. Alright. Let's commit. The Sylvan Library just doing the filtering, though, at this point is very strong. Like, that portion alone, and, like, helping my opponent dig for Abrupt Decay in particular is, like, so great. Good cards. Like that one. Imagine how good this would be if we had a couple of basic lands in this matchup, though. Alright. The life loss. Oh, with the life loss, I'm good with that. But that probably means that they, like, have some juice now. Cradle. This is definitely an interesting Nick Fit variant. Like, am I bringing in Blazing Volley versus this deck? I probably am, right? I saw multiple Dryad Arbors. Oh, so maybe their hand wasn't good and they had to draw through some stuff. That's good for me. Like, one Brazen Borrower hit, and I've got this. Wonder if our Elf is there to untap Cradle with Dryad. That would be spicy. Would absolutely approve of that message. That's actually kind of legit with Gaia's Cradle, though. I'm not gonna lie. That's a good draw. Don't have Abrupt Decay, don't have Abrupt Decay, don't have Abrupt Decay. I'm just gonna cast this now. Narrowly beat Acorn Harvest. Like, I don't know what sort of weird life gain junk could be in their deck. Like, I don't wanna mess with it, right? Like, we're gonna try to just bolt their face and end it now. Alright, what do I like versus Nick Fit? Versus this version, I am digging these Blazing Volleys. And probably these. There's also this. But timing's a little restrictive. Is Arbor Elf there to untap a forest with Squirrel's Nest? Is Squirrel Nest Legacy legal? That just, goes infinite with a billion different things, right? It is Legacy legal. Okay. Alright, well, so what don't we want? Earthcraft. That's what I'm thinking of. Earthcraft. That's the side that's banned. Stifle's a little weird. Actually, this is probably not a Hidden Gibbons matchup, right? I probably have to board out the Hidden Gibbons as my starting point. Like, my opponent is just not going to have that many instants. This leaves me a little more threat light than I would like. I don't know that I get to do much about that. Unless... Alright. Alright, let's bring in the questionable card versus Nick Fit. It's only fair, right? It's only fair. I feel obligated to board it in at least one round. Yeah, Veil might be better than Days on the draw. I didn't know there were so many squirrel cards. Dude, opponent is memeing harder than us. I'm voting for the opponent. Yeah, like this ends up on YouTube and people are gonna like lose it. And then like someone's gonna like fucking donate me to like play squirrels once they find this list. And the cycle of jank continues. I don't want to reveal hooting mandrels. Alright. Yeah, our opponent is like straight up playing like Squirrel Nick Fit over there. Dual decks squirrels versus apes. What do I think of Daze? I think I like Daze when my opponent has one land. Let's flip to Lightning Bolt next turn. Morok, should I go get my tinfoil hat? I think I let that go. I'm not gonna daze that for the sake of dazing that. Delver is going to flip. And Hooty Hoot has trample. Now, very important here, in fetching, I have to fetch my Trops more than my Volks, because we have the 6-drop ape in the deck. Very important. I wish I had one more mana here. That's fine. Six-mana monkey. Hidden Gibbons is good. Post quarter? I think I'm just gonna daze that. I know I could just lightning bolt it, but I want to lightning bolt their dome instead at some point. We're being the bad guy and bullying the squirrel player. But I hope they're out there having a good time. So they probably play like the Squirrel Lord, right? Like the one that's really popular in cube formats. Deranged Hermit. That's probably out there. Yeah, our opponent had Wasteland too, right? Their deck's pretty unique. GG's, opponent. GG's. Okay, this opening hand doesn't have green mana, and it really needs green mana. I think I'm supposed to mulligan this one, since, like, there's a very good chance that I'm playing against a Chalice of the Void deck here. This hand is fine. I'm gonna keep both fetches over, like... Oh, no. Alright, so we are playing against curses. My Hooting Mandrills just became very hard to cast, and Force of Will does not stop Leyline of the Void. Hmm. Hidden Gibbons also, probably not turning on most of the time, huh? Tricky. Tricky. Right, a Delver is a great draw. Alright. So next turn I play Delver. The following turn, Delver flips. And then if I don't have to Force a Will anything, I can also play Brazen Borrower as another clock. Alright. Let's just daze that. Redeploy. Yeah, so, like, there are cards in the Curses deck which can turn on Hidden Gibbons, but it's going to be infrequent, and our opponent can maybe play around Hidden Gibbons. Alright, so they're choosing the duress mode. I think I just let that happen rather than give them 2 cards. So I think my line here is just use Brazen Borrower to bounce the Chrome Mox and set them back a card while hopefully keeping them off of some amount of their top end. I believe that's better than casting the Ponder this turn. We're gonna get Dark Ritualed into Curse of Misfortune to punish me. Oh, we're just gonna get Helmed to punish me. Rough. Yeah, nothing I can do to stop that here. GG. Alright, what do we have for curses? Not a lot. Probably Veil of Summer. Sylvan Library and Clothis are reasonable. Ancient Grudge isn't crazy either, I suppose. So this is the pile of cards I can be thinking about. Bongify is probably a stretch. Hidden Gibbons is probably a stretch, unfortunately. Like, against the deck that has a lot of artifact-based permanents and enchantments and stuff, I don't know that, like, Hidden Gibbons is going to be a reliable finisher. I think that looks fine. Um, this hand has no early pressure and also gets pretty wrecked by a leyline. I think I'm going to ship this one despite the fact that I'm pretty good against chalice-based hands. Oh no. This'll do. This hand has a plan. The plan is Delver into Delver with Force of Will backup. Bird of Paradise, thank you very much for the support. Happy to add you to the rank of followers. My plan is to force that and then play the second Delver. However, if I already had played the second Delver, I wouldn't have forced a Chalice. Notably, I'm not going to be lazy here and cast my Delver pre-combat, because there's a couple of weird black pitch spells that kill creatures that Reaplecheap could be playing that I don't want to walk into. Things like Contagion and what's the other one? Spinning Darkness, maybe? Plague Engineer would be brutal here. Alright. Do I cast the other Delver? The more pressure I have in play, the better. I'm gonna go for it. Like, I know that my opponent's deck has single target removal. I know that they have access to Plague Engineers. And I know that they have an endgame. Oh, I don't know what this card does. Hold up. Alright. Beginning of your end step, sacrifice each other creature you control. Okay. Guard 2 cards, sacrifice this. Choose target opponent. Return Plague Reaver to the battlefield under that player's control at the beginning of their next upkeep. Okay, so this is just a 3 mana 6/5. With slight downside. That's fine. Wasteland, I will not reveal that card. The real question, though, is what do I tap? Or not tap, what do I destroy with Wasteland? Because every Ancient Tomb tap is good for me as a whole, but it also allows my opponent to deploy more cards. So it's like amount of mana versus type of mana. And I get to take my opponent off one. I think I'm really torn on this decision because, like, if my Delver doesn't flip, my clock is kind of slow. But if my Delver does flip, my clock is just insane. I think I'm going to go for Ancient Tomb and just make it harder to cast the Haymakers. Like, if I can flip Delver or draw a blue card, I think either one of those things wins me the match. I will not reveal Hooting Mandrills. I get to crack for 4. Not quite to Hooting Mandrills. I have 4 of 6. My clock is currently faster than my opponent's clock, but not by much. Alright, let's just always yield to that. We're not gonna stifle that. Yes, I will reveal Force of Negation. That's quite good for me. Alright, so I had to put opponent to 1. Now, I cannot Force of Will, or I die. I can Force of Negation, I cannot Force of Will. Alright. Whew. Our opponent had drained us earlier off the Collective Brutality. They would have taken that game. It was down to the wire. It's a 6/5 you can cast off Dark Ritual. I don't think I want to Pongify. How do I feel? I brought in the Veils? I did bring in the Veils. Alright, so we're good. Yeep. Alright. It is a Leyline game. Delver card seems pretty good. But care? Let's assume I care. I'm going to brainstorm. They're great. I want all of them. Um, yeah, I do want that land. Reaple Cheap's down to 3 cards. And I have 3 different threats available to me. Not that that many cards are gonna, like, go to their graveyard or anything, but Lothus sitting there. Yeah, I think that's just one of those times where I say, like, that's fine. Don't think of Clothis as having a job in this matchup. Think of Clothis as not being a card that was worse than the things that I boarded out. Right? So our things like Hidden Gibbons, like, were really weak here. So Clothis came in to fill the gaps rather than Clothis being there to, like, pick apart something that our opponent is doing. Second Trinisphere is fine. It looks like the double color doesn't matter much here. I probably have my opponent on a 2-ish turn clock. It's a little hard to say, though. Because, like, they're on a 2-turn clock if a card goes to their graveyard. I'm on the fence about whether or not I'm actually supposed to play that Wasteland. But there are some worlds where I can potentially double spell later. That's disgusting. I'm sorry, Reaple Cheap. That was a hell of a draw. Yeah, that was a time where they just had, like, lock pieces, and they didn't have a threat, or they didn't have a way to answer my onboard creatures. What do they put under there? A Dark Ritual. Yeah, like, they had threats and manas. Manas? They had threats and mana. but they couldn't actually close out the game. Or stabilize the game, for that matter. We have bested the curses. Okay, this is a weird one. So if we're playing against a fetch land deck, and we just get to stifle 2 things, that's super sick. But this hand doesn't have a real gameplay beyond mana denial. And if my opponent just like goes like plains go or something, this hand is not great. I think this is a hand that either wins or loses by just miles. So I think I'm gonna mulligan this one. Especially when I am on the play. Keep. Absolutely keep. All my cards are good. What do I get rid of? Bolt. Probably bolt. It's probably correct to just hold up Stifle on turn 1, but, like, you know. I gotta. Nice. Opponent didn't play around Stifle. I'm just gonna pass. Got him. Don't need Pongify. And let's put back the Force of Negation. Then I'll grab a Vault and just, like, maybe look for land drop 3 with this Ponder. Oh, those are cards. Take all that? I think take all that. Put Brainstorm on bottom to flip Delver. um, will I die if this is just like Doomsday? And they go Dark Ritual Doomsday? I probably don't die this turn. I'll let that happen. Oh no, it's in there for the memes for sure. They are not losing very much life here. Oh, they have no payoff card yet. Oh, there's a payoff card. They don't have a way to get hellbent though. Does that kill me? Yeah, that should kill me. Yeah, now they just like have enough mana for tendrils. All right. What do we have for ye old storm deck? Honestly, not much. I'll probably play Veils. Given how little combo hate I have, I probably play Surgical. Blasts are eh. Carpet is eh. Library is eh. I think this is a time where I figure out like how many cards do I want to bring out. So, like Hidden Gibbons, for example, is awkward because a lot of my opponent's early plays are going to be sorceries before the turn that they go off. And it's like Brainstorm as the big one that triggers Hidden Gibbons. I'll have to board those out. I'm good with Stifles. I don't want Pongifies. That means I need to bring in at least 2 more cards after the Veils and Surgicals. Also means I probably need to mulligan to a Delver. Ordered it in versus Nick Fit, Force of Fill. We gave it some action. The thing is, if it attacks, we can start going for their artifact mana. Let's do something like that. We don't have, like, some of the things like Flusterstorms that I really want access to. I really want a Delver hand. I can't deploy this Hooting Mandrills very quickly. And I've shown my opponent Stifle. I'm gonna fish a little bit. Yep. I'm good with this. It sure does have a lot of text. A lot of mana symbols, too. Alright, Delver, blind flip for me, buddy. Ponder, yeah. Alright, so now we have 3 pieces of interaction available to us. Yeah, that's happening. Gobos, eh? That's not great. Didn't board in the blazing volleys. I guess I can daze one of these. Yeah, I think I'm dead here. Like, even if I block, I take 7, then I take 6, then I take 5, then I take 4. I'm not winning via aggro, though. So I guess I'm holding back. I don't think I can win. I've gotten so used to playing against EES where, like, the goblins entering play isn't a thing that I'm really thinking about, that I didn't even, like, seriously consider boarding in the blazing volley. Like, I thought about it for half a second, and I just mentally went, like, no, and then we lost to it. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the towel there. This opening hand does not have lands. We're gonna ship that one back. This one doesn't work either. Oh no. Um, uh, Second card to put back is hard here. Put back one of the brainstorms. And hope that my wasteland is good. There's a decent number of basic land control decks around right now, though. So keeping a hand on the strength of a wasteland is not where I want to be. But on 5, like, you gotta do what you gotta do. Also, my opponent has mulliganed to 5 and is thinking about going lower, too. That makes me think graveyard-based combo. Alright, I have 2 surgicals for post-sideboard games, if that's the case. Looking for Delvers, probably. Counter Magic is okay. We technically need green mana as well. I don't know if our opponent has stepped away for a moment or what. But I don't expect that they're planning on countering this Ponder. It doesn't work. I can't take 2 of those, and I certainly can't take 3. Okay, this is acceptable. That finds me green mana. I don't really want to daze something that my opponent does. Like, I'll do it if it's scary, but there's a very real chance. Yep. Alright, so this is probably a Miracles build with Baubles, or it could be an Urza deck. That's more likely after seeing Lotus Petal. I don't get to daze their turn 1 play very awkwardly. So that happens. Maybe I can find a Lightning Bolt to answer it. So this turn's awkward. If I brainstorm to look for Lightning Bolt to answer Emery, so that they can't just play a bunch of Baubles, then I need to fetch Tropical Island, and then I'm not using this as a shuffle effect. I think that's fine. And Amunda, thank you very much for following. But I don't want to, like, brainstorm, find lightning bolt, and then fetch another volcanic island to cast that. Oh. I give them the 3/3, right? I give them the 3/3. All right. Monkey business. I'm gonna make a 4/4, so it's not their 3/3 is the end of the world or anything, but um just saying, Pongify and Chain Lightning, they do different things. They've played around Daze yet again. That Lotus Petal coming in clutch off this mulligan. Take another green here. Guess I could have also played Sylvan Library that turn and not saved the cards in my graveyard. Cash Register, thank you very much for throwing a gift sub to Prissinger. Very much appreciated. No attack with the Thopter. Interesting. Am I attacking with Hooting Mandrills? I don't think I'm attacking with Hooting Mandrills if they're not attacking. I gave him, well, more accurately, I gave them an ape. With Pongify. Let's just assume that's bad for me. Brazen Borrower, Flip Delver. I don't play enough Delver to actually know the answer to that. How are you worded? Let's not think about it. Let's just reveal it. All right, does not Flip Delver. Hidden Gibbons. Hell yeah. My opponent probably doesn't actually have too many instants. That probably just goes back. I'll pay to keep this. That means my Delver doesn't flip for a little while. I think that's okay. This leaves me with Force of Will for my opponent's turn. Actually, maybe I should have attacked with Hooting Mandrills. My opponent blocks, I try to get a blowout. There is that, huh? I'm so used to people casting that for 3 mana that I was not actively thinking about the backside of that. Oof. That's quite good. Don't want to flip Hidden Gibbons. Want to put Ponder back on top to flip Delver. I'm in a losing battle here. Like, having to Pongify that Emery on one and, like, giving my opponent that ape probably cost me, like, 12 damage. Now, Delver can't really even attack. Eh. Yeah, this is going south quickly. I need, like, another Hooting Mandrills. And my opponent is just gonna, like, keep getting incremental value with Psy. I don't know, maybe the first time Echo of Eons was cast, I should have just let it resolve. Because this stare down has done me no favors. Yeah. Alright. I'm used to them, like, auto, like, not letting you do that. I am comfortable throwing in the towel there. Alright, get in here, Ancient Grudge, for sure. Need that to answer artifacts. I want all these Pyroblast effects. Surgical has some text. Carpet has some text. Honestly, another library to filter my draws for if a Chalice slips into play is probably pretty good, too. Unfortunately, I think this is another matchup where we just have to, like, send all the Hidden Gibbons to the bench. And I don't think I get to play Pongify. I think that has to go, too. Stifle has text, but not the text that I want it to either, so I also want to board those out. It means I need to bring in 3 more cards. At that point, I probably need Clothis as threats. I can technically eat away at the graveyard for Emeries, too. And like, there's artifact lands and soul lands, so, like, even though my opponent is a mono blue deck, Carpet is medium. I think I'm good with 1 surgical. I would like to play first. This'll do. This'll do. I think we're keeping maximum aggro TM hand and pitching the ponder. My goal is basically to win with the cards that are in my opening hand right here. I don't want to sculpt. I just want to play Delver into Delver and then Lightning Bolt my opponent twice, and for them to be dead. Again, I'm playing in a way that potentially allows the Lightning Bolts to just go upstairs. I guess the next question is, like, will I brainstorm in my upkeep? Probably. Like, my opponent's deck doesn't have much removal spell, and I can guaranteed flip my stuff. That smells like Hull Breacher, though. So I'm not actually going to do that now. Blind flip. Oh, no Hull Breacher. You keep your hand on the Strength of Emery and then just get super punished. You can play Brainstorm to bait Hull Breacher. I think that's just getting cute. I think I'm just going to fire off a Lightning Bolt at my opponent's face here. Four mana. Not 100% sure what was going on there. But I do know that if they tap Ancient Tomb, they die to Lightning Bolt. Very sure of that. I have Force of Negation for something like an Ensnaring Bridge. Nice. Obviously, the game on the draw will be harder. When they can just, like, Chalice on one. Don't think I'm changing my sideboarding at all. Okay, is my hand good? My hand has Force of Will for a Chalice, but if I Force of Will Chalice, I'm left with Surgical Extraction and 4 lands. I don't know that this hand is actually good. Like, the way that I win this is by getting a clock into play and then keeping my opponent from doing the things that matter the most. And I think I'm going to mulligan this hand. Hand's soft to Chalice. And also doesn't have a threat, but has a bunch of cantrips. I like this better than the last hand, but I still don't love this. Like, a lot of my opponent's best hands are going to roll this one. I'm just gonna ponder here. I don't hate force. I'm willing to draw 2 of these. I think I'm willing to draw 2 of these. I still don't have the threat that I need. I'll feel pretty good if I can pick up a threat, though. I know I don't want the card that's on top of my library, so I'm going to go ahead and fetch here. Just make my odds of Ponder hitting a Delver specifically higher. I need a threat. I mean, the unfortunate reality of it is that we've boarded out the Hidden Gibbons in most rounds. We've played against a good number of decks that are Chalice of the Void based, and when that happens, you're not getting to trigger them, and so they're close to dead cards. Hooting Mandrills. Hooting Mandrills is great. Do I Wasteland this turn? Let's say no. Okay, hold on. I should actually think about this because there's a chance that these cards could get shuffled back in. So I want to get rid of the worst things. I can either Red Elemental Blast that or attack that. I cannot Red Elemental Blast Karn, though. I think this is the way to play this. I think this damage just matters so much right now. And that puts exactly enough cards in graveyard to answer Narset and put my second ape into play. So the big worry here is that my opponent can go Arn, grab Ensnaring Bridge, and put Ensnaring Bridge into play. That's the thing that beats me right now. Outside of Ensnaring Bridge, I just have so much oomph that I think I can probably get there. That's ensnaring bridge. Not the best for me. All right. I probably can't leave them with Karn, unfortunately. They were one life lower, and there wasn't a Chalice of the Void. I could probably leave the Karn, but that's two different things that make it important to take that thing off the table. I can also just kill with Clothis, so this isn't, like, lights out. Eekwood, thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate the support. Oh, an Echo of Eons. That's interesting. That would be a way that my creatures could attack again. Hmm. That's not good. Alright, opponent has Lion's Eye Diamond so that they can go Hellbent, and they also just have Mycosynth Lattice Lock next turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so they have Mycosynth Lattice Lock through days. Alright. Yeah, that just means that they crack the Lion's Eye Diamond, and then I don't get to cast stuff again. GG's. GG's. We were so close there. Alright, overall thoughts on the deck list. This is trying to get away with too much cute stuff, right? Like, you get to get away with a little bit of cute stuff. Like, I think you can get away with playing a playset of Hidden Gibbons. But I don't think you also get to get away with playing a playset of Hidden Gibbons and playing Pongify and playing the the Kogla in the sideboard, right? So like we probably win that match if we have like say Chain Lightnings over Pongify because we get to attack so many more times with the Hooting Mandrills. And like if this was another relevant card, it would have been nice. Like, we were a little light versus some of the combo matchups, and we were doing things like siding in the Clothis a bunch to replace the Hidden Gibbons when it wasn't good. I think against some sort of, like, control deck, the Hidden Gibbons are totally fine, because, like, they have the Brainstorms and Swords of Plowshares and Bolts and, you know, maybe Predicts and stuff like that that are triggering it. But there's so many decks in Legacy where you just like don't get to trigger the hidden Gibbons. I think this card is sweet. I think it's an underexplored card, and it's the sort of thing that should be in the back of your mind if you regularly play, green mid-rangey piles. It's a card that you shouldn't forget, but I don't think it can be a 4 of in a deck because you can't force your opponent to play instants, right? There's some decks that get a lot of value out of something like forcing their opponents to search for things like Archive Trap, or like forcing your opponents to have creatures like you do with Oath in Vintage, but we can't do that with Hidden Gibbons here. And because of that, I don't know that you can play it as a 4 of. It's some sweet tech and maybe a viable sideboard card sometimes. But overall, this was a very fun league. This was a very silly league. But we felt like we were a little weak. We did also have some bad beats on mulligans. We drew a decent number of hands that just didn't have functional mana, and like C'est La Vie, so it goes there. All right, folks who end up watching this on the YouTube and later, if you made it this far in the video, please consider throwing me a like and a comment if you have made it this far. I appreciate it and it helps out the old algorithm a lot. If you're interested in trying out this deck yourself, the deck list is always in the description, as is my donation info. Have a great rest of the day.